The new head of the Environmental Protection Agency is reigniting the debate over climate change.
And Scott Pruitt's comments about the issue are challenging common and respected scientific thinking about how greenhouse gases are impacting the environment. So KCAL 9 political reporter Bryan joins us now with more on Pruitt's apparently shifting position today.
Absolutely, and California is right in the middle of this issue. You know, all the issues, it seems every night California is in the middle. This is no different. The man in charge of protecting the environment claimed today that carbon dioxide is not a primary contributor to global warming. It's a position that flies in the face of decades of scientific research and is likely to set off a huge debate over the policies and direction President Trump wants to take over the environment. Already under fire from environmentalists who charged he was in the pocket of big Oklahoma oil companies as Attorney General of that state, the new Environmental Protection Secretary, Scott Pruitt, dropped a bomb on the environmental movement in this exchange Thursday on CNBC about the impact of carbon dioxide emissions on climate change.
Do you believe that it's been proven that CO2 is the primary control knob for climate? Do you believe that?
No, I think that measuring with precision human activity on the climate is something very challenging to do, and there's tremendous disagreement about the degree of impact. So no, I would not agree that it's a primary contributor to the global warming that we see.
Pruitt went on to say that we don't know yet, so we need to continue the debate, the review, and the analysis. But environmental groups like the Union of Concerned Scientists charged Pruitt's denial flies in the face of scientific evidence.
Listen to the scientists. 97% of scientists who have studied climate change agree that carbon dioxide is the primary cause of human-driven climate change.
In January, NASA and NOAA confirmed that rising global temperatures are driven largely by increased carbon dioxide and other human-made emissions into the atmosphere. And even on the website of the EPA, now run by Pruitt, it says carbon dioxide is the primary greenhouse gas that is contributing to recent climate change. Here's what Pruitt said less than 2 months ago at his confirmation hearing.
Science tells us that the climate is changing, and then human activity in some manner impacts that change.
Donald Trump has called global warming a hoax caused by the Chinese. Do you agree that global warming is a hoax?
I do not, Senator.
So Donald Trump is wrong?
I do not believe that climate change is a hoax.
Sierra Club LA chapter community organizer Kent Manault says Pruitt's allegiance to the oil industry is coming through now.
His industry ties are enormous. So what he's saying is now the fossil fuel industry, the polluters are basically in charge of the agency that's supposed to protect us from pollution. I think now it's up to the states really to say, oh no, we're not going to go in that direction.
We've made California a world leader in the fight against climate change.
Just 6 days after Pruitt's confirmation hearing, Governor Jerry Brown was reassuring Californians that the state would continue to lead the fight, essentially signaling that it would ignore Washington on environmental issues.
Whatever they do in Washington, they can't change the facts. And these are the facts. The climate is changing. The temperatures are rising, and so are the oceans. Natural habitats everywhere are under stress. The world knows this.
At UCLA, exchange student Chris Schmidt, a member of an activist group called CalPIRG, says statements like Pruitt's may actually be refueling the environmental movement on campus.
Especially environmentalism, which is what we focus on. We've seen students come sort of re-energized, notice that they're in a place where they can change things and where they can make their voices heard and, fight for issues that they believe are important.
Now, amid this controversy, The Hill reports that the head of the EPA program aimed at protecting minority populations from pollution is stepping down. Mustafa Ali has resigned after working at the EPA for more than 2 decades. Ali says he does not see any indication from the Trump administration that is interested in helping vulnerable communities. So a lot of conflict going on.
Yeah, climate change is a very big topic here in the state of California. So what impact will it have on our state, do you think?
Well, it could eventually lead to the courtroom. I mean, in at least some cases. It certainly adds to California's reputation as the state that's leading the country when it comes to environmental laws, one part of which could be challenged by the Trump administration in a legal battle over the state's Clear Power Plan, which has been challenged in federal court. In fact, there could be legal fights over many issues like that in the next 4 years that might include issues like sanctuary cities, immigration, health care, and now perhaps environmental issues as well. It could be a very busy 4 years for the California State Attorney General's office. Jeff, Lena, back to you.